Good morning students. My name is Arpana Priya Barnes, lecturer in English, GSI, PUC College, MYSURU. Okay, who is gentleman or a gentle woman according to you? Or what features or qualities attribute to the word gentleman or a gentlewoman? Just let us think. So what are the qualities that makes a person a gentleman or a gentle woman? Yes. So there are so many qualities. So we can list out n number of qualities a gentleman or a gentlewoman should possess. Right? Let us take a time and just think about ourselves. Do we possess those qualities a gentleman or a gentlewoman should possess? Do we have all those qualities a gentlewoman or a gentleman should have? Let us just ponder. Let us just think about it. Yes. In today's class, we are going to study an inspirational story which conveys that as long as people are willing to make sacrifices for the well-being of others, there is hope for humanity. In the chapter, Two Gentlemen of Verona, written by A.J. Cronin. A.J. Cronin, that is Archibald Joseph Cronin, was born in 1896. He is a Scottish physician and a novelist. He started his career as a doctor, as a physician, but after his first novel became a huge success, that is Hatter's Castle. So when his first novel became huge success, he gave up medicine and he took to writing as his career. So he wrote his first novel, that is Hatter's Castle, when he was recovering from an illness. Some of his novels are The Stars Look Down, The Keys of the Kingdom, A Song of Sixpence, The Spanish Gardener and The Citadel. So there are many more. So these are some of his works, and most of these novels have been successfully adapted to films or movies. Now, so look at the title, Two Gentlemen of Verona. So that seems to be very familiar, right? So Cronin has taken this title from one of his Shakespeare's plays, that is The Two Gentlemen of Verona. But these two gentlemen of Verona is different from that of Shakespeare's. So this story basically set in Verona, that is Italy. It boasts many historical sites. So there are many tourist attractions. A popular attraction is Juliet's house. A character who in one of the Shakespeare's plays, Romeo and Juliet. So we can find Juliet's house there, and there is one more tourist attraction, that is Juliet's tomb. So this story was written after World War II or a Second World War. So we all know that Verona is a beautiful city, isn't it? But this Verona was heavily bombed after this war. After the war, people of this Verona city had to face lot of hardship. There were only few jobs left and the necessities were expensive. In such difficult circumstances, the two boys in the story had to work very hard to pay the expenses, the medical expenses of their sister. Though they were very young, they shouldered their responsibility with dignity. They never complained about anything. So they were very active and they were ready to do any sort of odd job or any sort of work they were ready to do. So they never complained. So they were ready to do any sort of job anytime. So the author, that is A.J. Cronin, who saw these two boys, impressed by the behavior and actions of those two boys and calls them two gentlemen of Verona. That's the reason he titled this novel as Two Gentlemen of Verona. So as I have already told you, so he calls those two boys who comes in this story two gentlemen of Verona because of their gentleman-like qualities. So in today's class, we are going to witness or let us learn or let us know what are those qualities those two boys possessed as we go further in the chapter. So students, open page number 101, chapter 12, Two Gentlemen of Verona, written by A.J. Cronin or Archibald Joseph Cronin. As we drove through the foothills of the Alps, two small boys stopped us on the outskirts of Verona. So here in the story, A.J. Cronin is the author as well as the narrator. So he is going to narrate the story which happened in Verona. The narrator describes about those two boys he met as they were driving through the foothills of Alps. So this Alps is a mountain range in Europe. It stretches over 8 countries including Germany and Italy. It is that huge. So here we refers to author as well as his companion. As they were driving, before they reach Verona city, they encounter these two boys or they meet these two boys. They stop author's car. They were selling wild strawberries, bright scarlet berries that looked delicious against the dark green leaves lining the wicker basket. Author as well as his companion were stopped by these two boys. Why did they stop them? That is because these two boys were selling strawberries. Okay, they were selling wild strawberries. Those berries, they were looking very delicious because those berries were red in color. So they were dark red and those berries were arranged in such a way that it looked very attractive. So where they kept all the berries in the middle wicker basket, which means a basket which is made out of a flexible twig or a branch. So the berries were in the middle, they had placed berries in the middle of the basket and it was covered by green leaves in the edge of the basket. So just imagine how it would look, right? In between red berries, it was surrounded by dark green leaves. How delicious it looks, right? So here also, when these two boys stopped the author as well as his companion car, they were selling berries and those berries were looking very delicious. So forget about the taste, but to see, it was very delicious. Don't buy, warned Luigi, a cautious driver. You will get fruit much better in Verona. Besides, these boys. He shrugged his shoulders to convey his disapproval of their shabby appearance. And as these two boys stopped the car, author as well as his companion, they were just looking at those berries and those boys. Before they could buy, they were stopped by their cautious driver, that is Luigi. Okay, Luigi will stop them from buying fruits from them. He says, don't buy from these two boys because they will get much better quality fruits in Verona city than those boys are selling. So he conveys his disapproval by shrugging his shoulder. He says, look at these boys. The reason why he stops them from buying from those two boys, it is not because of the quality of the fruits. That is because of their appearance. They were dressed in a poor condition. So whereas driver feels that as they are dressed in a poor condition, he also feels that the fruit or the fruits which they are selling, they must be of a poor quality. So there is a saying, isn't it? Don't judge a book by its cover, right? So over here, he judged those boys by looking at their outer appearance. Many times even we will be deceived by outer appearance. We also give prominence or importance for outer appearance than the inner beauty. Likewise, even a cautious driver, by looking at their poor condition, that is because of their shabby appearance, he calls or he tells the author as well as his companion not to buy fruits from them. One boy had on a worn jersey and cut off khaki pants. The other a shortened army tunic gathered in a loose folds about his skinny frame. Now the author describes about their appearance, those two boys' appearance. One boy had worn jersey. Worn means torn. So one boy was wearing torn jersey and cut off khaki pants. Cut off, which means it is a shorts made by cutting off the legs of a pair of trousers. And the other one had worn shortened army tunic. Tunic means loose garment. Okay. He was wearing very loose or an oversized garment. So these two boys were dressed shabbily in the old clothes. That too, those dress which they were wearing, that were too large for them. Okay. Yet, gazing at the two little figures with their brown skins, tangled hair and dark earnest eyes, we felt ourselves strangely attracted. So these two were dark skinned and they were very thin with tangled hair. So they had not combed their hairs properly. They had dark earnest eyes. That earnest eyes. By looking at those two boys, this author as well as his companion, they were strangely attracted to those boys because they could see their sincerity and the seriousness or the eagerness which they had to sell those berries attracted the attention of these travelers, that is author as well as his companion. They were strangely attracted to those boys. They themselves don't know how or why they were attracted to those boys. My companion spoke to the boys, discovered that they were brothers. Nicola, the elder, was 13. Jacopo was barely came up to the door handle of the car, was nearly 12. We bought their biggest basket, then set off towards town. When these two boys were selling, or when these two boys were convincing author as well as his companion to buy strawberries from them, author's companion, author's friend, he will talk to those boys and he will find out these two boys were brothers. The first one is Nicola. So this Nicola was 13 years old and the second one is Jacopo, was just 12 years. He just came up to car's door handle. He was so short. He was so tiny. He was just 12 years old. Though their cautious driver warned them not to buy fruits from those two boys, the author as well as his companion, they bought their biggest basket of strawberries. And after buying strawberries from them, they continued their journey towards the city. Verona is a lovely city, rich in history, with quiet medieval streets and splendid buildings of an exquisite pale honey color. Romeo and Juliet are reputed to have lived there. Bombed in the recent war, it has lost its bridges, but not its gaiety or charm. So Verona is a lovely city. It is known as one of the most romantic cities in Italy. So it is rich in history and it has a medieval streets and splendid. Splendid means magnificent or very impressive buildings with exquisite means extremely beautiful pale honey color buildings. Not just that, Romeo and Juliet were reputed to live there. So Romeo and Juliet, the entire world knows, everybody knows about Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet is one of the Shakespeare's a famous plays. So the famous quadrangle and the balcony is one of the top attractions of Verona city. It was that beautiful. It's such a lovely city. But during World War, it has lost its bridges and buildings. Though the bomb destroyed bridges and many buildings of Verona city, but it has not lost its gaiety or amusement or the charm. People long for the enchantments and gaieties of this Verona city. Though they have lost many bridges, still it attracts people. So that is the beauty of Verona city. It has not stopped or it has not lost its charm or the attraction, the attractiveness. So it is the same though they have lost many bridges. So students, we'll stop it over here. So we will continue in the next session. So far we have learnt about the author, that is A.J. Cronin, and the description of those two boys, and about the Luigi, a cautious driver. And also it's about Verona city. So we'll see what else the author has to tell about those two boys in the next session. Thank you. Features, qualities, gentlewoman, expenses, sought, adapted, studied, have seen, show shiners, need, with, dawn to dusk, available. What does it show? It shows gentle woman